The instant the referee blew for full time, the pundits, the retired professionals, and the studio analysts turned merciless. And the direction they took next may honestly catch you off guard. Because after weeks of chatter about a fixed tournament and an official supposedly living in Argentina's back pocket, you would have wagered everything that England's collapse would set off a wave of angry uploads directed straight at FIFA. What actually unfolded was something far less common. The game's biggest voices sat through the same 90 minutes, arrived at an identical conclusion, and put the truth out there for anyone paying attention. England were the architects of their own downfall, and the figure they all singled out was not carrying a whistle. He was pacing the England technical area. So let's walk through exactly what was said once the smoke cleared, because the agreement is honestly brutal. Rapid recap on the road here. England went ahead through Anthony Gordon around the 55th minute mark and stood roughly half an hour away from their first World Cup showpiece since 1966. Then Thomas Tuchel began pulling forwards and inserting defenders. England shrank back into their own penalty area, and Messi engineered 2 goals during the final stretch. An Enzo Fernandez thunderbolt and a Lautaro Martinez header sealed a 2-1 victory. From the moment Gordon netted, England touched only 12% of the ball, and virtually nobody in football chalks that up to misfortune. They see it as a decision, and an incorrect one. Sure, the fixture itself resembled a brawl. The opening half-hour racking up a record 11 fouls with 0 shots on record. And countless fans will always accuse the referee of permitting Argentina's aggressive rhythm. Yet when the professionals started breaking down the loss, that is not where the blame landed. They aimed it at the changes off the bench. The exact swaps deserve unpacking because they lie at the core of everything after. England ahead, Argentina rocking, and Tuchel withdrew Gordon, the man who found the net, together with Reece James and Declan Rice, replacing them with 3 defensively wired players, Ezri Konsa, Dan Burn, and Nico O'Reilly. At one moment, England fielded 6 defenders simultaneously, while the attacking cavalry, Ivan Toney and Marcus Rashford, only entered in the 95th minute, while after Argentina had already stormed back ahead. In simpler terms, England used the most treacherous half-hour of their tournament peeling away their attacking punch and only reached for it when the contest had already slipped through their fingers. Begin with the individual who wore the England armband more than nearly any other. Wayne Rooney offered no polite phrasing, stating outright that England fell apart and that the rot began with the head coach and the choices he signed off on. His reasoning had bite and psychology behind it. The second forwards spot 3 defenders warming up at 1-0, their conviction drains away. Their heads shift to survival instead of pursuit. A genuine top boss, Rooney insisted, answers a wave by pushing forward, not by bunkering down. And this was no purely English chorus. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, hardly a sentimentalist about England, took in the same fixture and decided they were the stronger side, only for the tactical choices to sink them. Even Harry Kane, England's own leader and top scorer, standing amid the debris, confessed the honest picture. We appeared to just cling on, which at this stage, he admitted, is nowhere near sufficient. When your own captain sums up the strategy as clinging for survival, the resistance has already crumbled, and the sharpest current threading through the fallout had nothing to do with formations. It concerned courage. Michael Owen laid it out as a clean side-by-side. Watch Spain when they are 1-0 ahead. That is boldness. That is spine. Now watch England and ask yourself where the gap sits. Owen's judgment was blunt and truthful at once. That England were probably the superior outfit, yet earned their exit. That it might well have finished 4-1. And that introducing 3 defenders while sitting on a lead broadcasts a plain signal of fear. Spain's own icon Iker Casillas was even more direct, branding England's retreat a spineless approach and pointing out that once you refuse to step beyond your own area, the inevitable arrives. Micah Richards echoed it from the English point of view. When you find the net, you chase the next one. And by settling deep, England gifted Argentina an easy ride through that second period. The theme that cropped up again and again from Englishmen and Spaniards together was that real nerve means holding the ball while under fire, not blasting it 40 yards clear and hoping for divine help. Then there was the badly shaped void sitting inside the entire choice. And nobody pierced it more sharply than Gary Lineker. His observation bordered on disbelief. If your whole scheme is to pack everybody behind the ball, Why on earth would you attempt it against the finest footballer to ever grace the sport and then fail to allocate a marker to him? Just stick somebody on him, Lineker begged. He was drowning in space. And that is precisely how it played out. England dug in, gifted Messi the exact strip of turf he adores most just beyond the box, and permitted him to send cross after cross after cross into a busy area. Both goals emerged from that zone. You could not draft a game plan more perfectly aligned with Messi's abilities if you set out to, and England handed it over with a ribbon. Now here comes the truly educational part, because the sharpest analysts did not simply label Tuchel mistaken. They set out exactly why this pattern always crumbles. Thierry Henry noted that England had genuinely been on the verge of introducing Marcus Rashford to press the contest, and then Gordon converted and Tuchel junked the strategy and dropped to a back five far ahead of schedule, giving up the momentum precisely when England owned it. Consider how the finest managers in the club scene deal with a lead, the argument ran. Mikel Arteta claimed a Premier League crown by grinding out 14 of his fixtures by a single goal margin. And he pulled it off without ever tearing up his structure, relying on his squad to retain the ball and remain a menace, on the basis that if you possess the ball, the other side cannot punish you. Tuchel did the polar reverse. And Cesc Fabregas, a manager in his own right now, painted the psychological snare in a way any professional immediately grasps. The moment a striker walks off for a center back, the entire dressing room's mentality shifts to we must stand deep. You welcome pressure. You welcome crosses and second balls and dead ball situations. And in his estimation, 80 to 90% of the time it collapses. This was not looking back with clarity. It is a well-recorded, well-understood misstep, and Tuchel strolled directly into it. It was not entirely dumped on Tuchel's shoulders. To be balanced, Gary Neville pointed out a wider issue that Declan Rice, one of England's key figures, had been physically off across the whole tournament. He has not been himself from the start, Neville stated. And a diminished engine room mixed with a drained set of players and Tuchel puzzling everybody by keeping Bukayo Saka, Noni Madueke, and Ebereki Eze glued to the bench. All poured into the same breakdown. So the full picture is slightly more textured than one poor sub, but every route still circled back to the dugout. And set against this whole choir, one figure stood by himself with zero regrets. Thomas Tuchel in person. He defended the pullback, arguing that England shifted to a back five because the openings were already being punished, that Argentina were dominating every aerial duel and hurling crosses without pause, and that he was merely trying to patch the leaks. He did concede at least that his group turned too passive after we netted. He half accepted it, saying the buck stops with the head coach, and half brushed it aside, remarking that millions of coaches always know better after full time. And crucially, the men who write his check are holding steady. The FA chief executive Mark Bullingham voiced his support openly, stating, "We have a coach who we feel is doing a genuinely strong job, and Tuchel is projected to complete his agreement right through to a home Euros in 2028. Regardless of the football community's view, he is going nowhere." That deserves a pause because in the fever of Wednesday evening, plenty of supporters figured a defeat this crushing, shaped by tactics so uniformly slammed, would place his position under threat. It won't. Tuchel inked a fresh deal ahead of the tournament. The contract reportedly built around performance triggers rather than a snap exit clause. And the mood inside the setup is that he has been dismantled more by rotten luck and a punishing calendar than by shoddy preparation. The FA cite the constructive atmosphere he has cultivated, the players who champion his professionalism, the connection he has forged with fans. A surprise defeat to DR Congo back in the round of 32 might genuinely have wobbled him. But arriving at a semi-final via one of the toughest paths the tournament offered has strangely armored him. So the man that the entire punditry brigade spent Wednesday evening carving up will be the exact same man leading England out at their home Euros. Draw your own conclusions. So let's engage with it seriously for a beat because there is a sharper insight tucked beneath the storm. Was Tuchel off the mark? Yes, almost without doubt. And even he partly admits so. But England's most self-wounding trait might not be any one strategy. It might be the noise itself. The moment they lose, the blame engine roars into gear. Retired players morph into headline manufacturers. TV chatter sours into social media pile-ons, and the actual football gets smothered under the shouting long before anyone has quietly gone back through it. It is a rhythm England have repeated across generations, and it may be inflicting as much lasting harm as any back five. And plenty of the response really did drift into the ugly. Michael Owen went far enough to declare there should be no such thing as foreign managers in the international game. A view that says vastly more about the fever of the instant than it does about anything Tuchel got wrong. When the criticism drifts into hunting a man for his nationality, you have quit examining football and started chasing a target to torch. And that really is the pit England keep tumbling into tournament after tournament. They do not merely face 11 rivals on the grass. They face the storm of expectation and blame they whip up around themselves. Before anybody has calmly reviewed the fixture, the storyline is already locked in. The villain already picked, the verdicts already circulating. Each former player transforms into a pundit. Each pundit transforms into a headline. And the pure mass of it seems to weigh down on the next generation of players who march into the next tournament already steeling themselves for the aftermath rather than starving for the reward. Tuchel himself once summed it up flawlessly about a prior England side that they looked more terrified of exiting than eager to lift the cup. On Wednesday, inside his own dugout, he saw that very dread unfold and then joined the queue of names devoured by the very machine he had described. And here is what nearly everybody yelling about England conveniently ignored. Argentina were exceptional. Buried beneath all the English self-absorption is the reality that this represented Argentina's most disciplined, restrained, cleanest showing of the entire knockout phase. Messi engineered both goals, pushing his count to a record haul of World Cup assists. And this ranked as Argentina's 11th goal notched after the 75th minute at this tournament by itself. That is not simply a rival caving in. That is a squad blessed with an almost otherworldly nose for the kill. A group that has now converted falling behind in knockouts into a habit on the way to a second straight final. Scaloni framed it with that phrase that has trailed them across the tournament, that there was blood in the water and we chased it. England pushed the door ajar, without question, but Argentina did not shuffle through it. They booted it clean off its hinges with pure clinical class. And no volume of Tuchel bashing should scrub that out. And it wasn't a solitary event, which is what makes it so terrifying. It marks the second knockout tie in a row Argentina have snatched after being behind in the closing stages, coming off their great escape versus Egypt, and the third consecutive one where they led in the first goal and still marched onward. Scaloni spelled out the reason, portraying a group that flourishes precisely when everything is stacked against them. A squad that, in his phrasing, plays like 7 or 8-year-olds who dread nothing and never dwell on the fallout of falling short. He half-quipped that if the Egypt turnaround was epic, this one was epic multiplied. That is a hazardous mindset to be transporting into a final. Whatever assistance the officiating team may or may not have delivered Argentina across this tournament, the mental armor they revealed in Atlanta belonged entirely to them. And it is the single most alarming thing about them stepping into Sunday. So the football planet has spoken, and for once it speaks in something close to a unified tone. Tuchel got the largest ruling of his England spell wrong. England squandered a winning platform against the reigning world champions. And not a single official, not a single VAR monitor, not a single FIFA plot was needed to spell it out. They inflicted this upon themselves. And the grim closer is that nothing shifts. Tuchel remains. The FA stays firm. The former professionals will roll onward to the next uproar, and England will lug the same debate, courage against caution, into the next tournament, and probably the one behind that. Whether they ever genuinely absorb the lesson stands as the sole outstanding question. Argentina, naturally, could not be less bothered. They are far too occupied preparing for a World Cup final. Do you reckon the pros are right to hammer Tuchel, or has the reaction skidded totally over the edge? Drop your view below and stick around, because Argentina versus Spain on Sunday is the final the tournament has been aiming at from the beginning.